Hi, I'm Shane and today I'll be doing a fresh walk around on my 2001 GXL Prado. Up front running the X-Rocks bar. It used to have a hoop on it, but we cut that off, welded up the holes so that we could fit the Light Force HTX spotlights on. Also prefer the look without the hoop. We've got the bar coated in Linex. The winch that we're running is a 12,000 pound Roo Systems job. It's just a rebadged Tigers 11 from what I can gather. The globes in the headlights have been upgraded, running the Philips 55-60 watt, and they're just a 4K upgrade, so a lot wider light. The aftermarket steel bash plate was fabricated up by Nick Rockage out of Perth and replaces the thin factory one. So after about 18 years of stone chips and whatnot on the bonnet, decided to get it recoated in Linex. That really cuts down the glare when you're driving and makes it a lot nicer. And it's also really tough, so you don't get any stone chips on this stuff. On the windscreen we've got the Bush and Beach Australia sticker. That's available for purchase nowhere, so don't try. We have the Safari snorkel fitted up, which runs through to a custom airbox. A nice little addition that cleaned up the look of the 90 series really nicely, I think, was the white indicators here. I believe they're off an 80 series, but don't quote me on that because they're about 6 years old. But yeah, they were just eBay special. Side steps were fabricated up by myself using 40x40 2.5mm SHS. They're not really designed as a rock slider, but they sit nice and high, and I haven't touched them on anything yet. They're more so just for getting the baby in and out of the car and getting to the roof rack easily. The hardest part of the side step fabrication was working out how to mount them. There's not a lot of room, especially where the sub tank sits in near the chassis there. I've removed the standard mud flaps because the tyres used to scrub on them on full lock. We've just tapped a couple of holes into the side steps and mounted the new ones to that. The rims that we've got are the Allied Black Thunder. Unfortunately, they're not available anymore because what I believe Allied's gone broke. They're in 16x8 0 offset. The tyres are the BF Goodrich mud trains, the KM2s. And they're 265x75. These weather shields that we have on the windows were just eBay special. They're just stuck on with double-sided tape. From memory, they were about $50 for the set of 4. Up top we have the ARB Deluxe Aluminium roof rack. These roof racks are absolutely brilliant. This one's about 14 or 15 years old now and has lived on both my 90 series that I've owned. Mounted to the rack we've got the Sunseeker awning. It's 2.5 metre by 2.5 metre, and really like the bag. It's black and white, which ties in nicely with the car. So up top we have a fitting where we can mount our XTM sand flag. We bought this because we were going to do some desert travel this year, but due to COVID it's kind of stuffed us up. On the other side we have mounted the Quick Pitch Quick On suite, which is basically just a shower tent that folds out on a frame and drops down. On the back of the roof rack we've got the Cyclone shovel mounted up. I had to modify the shovel and just make it a little bit shorter so it would fit in the position that I wanted it. That's just held on with a couple of Quick Fist quick grips. So they're a pretty good little product. Terrible name, but good product. So when we were in lockdown for COVID-19, I needed a bit of a job, and the factory GXL plastic flares that were on here had rubbed the body panels back to bare metal, and also they had faded from the sun and were looking really crappy and scratched. So what I did is I got 4 doors off an RV model that doesn't come with the flares, and on all the other panels where the holes were, where the flares attached, I welded them up, ground them back and bogged them up, and then we got the whole vehicle resprayed in the factory Toyota colour. In my opinion, I don't know, I like the way it looked with the flares, but I also really like it without the flares. and now just the paint's in a lot better condition, so she'll last the distance. On the spare tyre here, we've just got the MSA dirty gear bag. Just use that predominantly as a rubbish bag, but these rear panels here are also off an RV model, and they just meet up to the custom made rear bar that I fabricated up myself, and just had both of those coated in Line-X just to tie all the bar work in together. I removed the factory plastic number plate holder and welded up the holes. The slimline number plate is mounted to my custom rear bar, and I also got the Toyota badges blacked out with Line-X. So the Australian Prados from factory, they don't come out with an indicator here at all. I didn't really like the look of the orange indicators, so I put a white one on my rear bar. But that proves to be quite difficult to see during the day when it's bright. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole and glued in a fitting for a globe, and then run the wires down to the indicator wires to tie in with them. And now I've got a orange indicator up top, which is a lot easier to see. The exhaust I have on is a 2 3/4 inch turbo back jobby from Roost Systems. It's held up quite well, and then just at the rear we've got a 3-inch 90-degree bend coming outside. Matt from Camperite got these decals made up and fitted to the side of the car just to break up the colour and also to tie in with the camper when it's all hooked up, and I think it looks quite good. Front suspension, we've got 2-inch lifted Bilstein struts and running heavy duty EFS 40mm lifted springs. We've also got a 25mm diff drop kit installed, which brings the diff down about 5mm and just helps with the CV angles and helps to stop the CV boots rubbing on themselves and wearing through. We've upgraded all the brake lines to the stainless steel safe brake kit, which works quite well. The rear suspension that we're running, the coils are 105 series heavy duty front. They handle the weight really well with the camper hooked on and fully loaded like we normally are. We've also got 2-inch lifted Bilstein's long travel shock absorbers, and this setup flexes quite well. I'm pretty happy with it. I've removed the rear sway bar altogether. This just makes the rear axle walk over obstacles a lot smoother and easier, and also gives it slightly more flex. So I've had a slight issue with the 265 scrubbing up here on the wheel well in extreme flex situations. So what I've done to combat that is I've made some bump stop spacers, which you can see there, which are made out of 38mm patio tube, and that's eliminated the problem altogether. With the handbrake, we've done the longer dog bone modification, and what this does, it just allows the whole shoe to contact with the drum when the handbrake's applied, and just gives it a much more positive locking force, and also it spreads out the time frame of when you need to adjust the handbrake, so it makes it a lot longer distance between adjustments. It's definitely a worthwhile mod in my books. In the rear diff, we've got a Detroit soft locker fitted. These auto lockers from Detroit are absolutely brilliant. In the rear, we have a set of Outback drawers fitted. We're running a 47 litre ARB fridge freezer. One of the more recent mods that I've done is to put a couple of Oki straps across the 2 grab handles in the rear, and it's a perfect place for sitting my Cobra. And we got some shopping bags and also big bulky jacket. On all the rear windows, we've got the solar screens fitted up. These are absolutely brilliant. They're insulated, and they've also got a reflective coating on the opposite side, and they just help to keep the vehicle a lot cooler during those hot summer days. Okay, moving into the cab, we've got the HEMA HN7. The off-road maps on this setup is absolutely brilliant. Definitely wouldn't get it for the street navigation though, because it's not very good. I've got the Turbo Smart boost gauge and the SAS EGT gauge. Also running the Grab Me Gear dash pod organiser. Got a JVC doubled in head unit which fits in nicely. On the side here I've got a switch for my air compressor. That's hardwired, mounted under the seat. And I've got the red arc brake controller. And also got the momentary button for my winch. So this is how I control the winch. Down below the stereo we've got the unit and UHF mounted. It sits down there nicely out of the way. Where the driver's side grab handle used to be, I've got another quick fist mounted, and I've got my lead lenser torch for easy access. Have the Mean Mother bucket style floor mats fitted. They're great for capturing any mud and dirt that you bring in on your shoes. Under the dash here we have a DP chip mounted, which is set on setting number 5. So under the bonnet we've got the 3 litre 1KZ TE running 18 PSI via a 3-bar map sensor and a turbo T. This takes the power from about 3 horsepower to about 6, so big improvement. Nah, just kidding. She's running about 113 horsepower at the wheels, which is about a 25% increase from standard. So I've got here the dyno printout from Bunbury Fuel Injection from when they did the tune. So torque, she's sitting at 308.6 Newton meters at 2500 RPM, and power at the wheels 113.1 horsepower at 2823 RPM. This is the aftermarket 3-bar map sensor that I got off of eBay. What that does is tricks the ECU into seeing only half the boost that it's actually running, so that allows you to wind it up past the 14.5 PSI limp mode. The Turbo Smart Boost T is fitted up to a custom stainless steel bracket that I fabricated up myself, which houses the Glide hot water shower heat exchanger. The 12 volt water pump for the shower sits under the bracket for the heat exchanger. It's really hard to beat a hot shower while you're out camped in the middle of nowhere. Starting battery is a Optima yellow top, 845 CCA. So far that's been a great battery. The auxiliary battery I'm running that powers my ARB 47 litre fridge is an Intimidator heavy duty AGM. I believe it's 120 amp hour, but I could be wrong. Also got the Oricom Bluetooth battery monitoring setup. So what that does is just transmits to an app on your phone, and you can monitor the voltage in the battery. So we've got 2 red arc battery isolators fitted, one between the 2 batteries in the vehicle, and the second one goes between the auxiliary battery and the camper battery when that's hooked up. The custom airbox that I'm running was knocked up by Mick Waters Fabrication in Bunbury, and it runs the standard air filter, and it just has a 90-degree bend that goes around and hooks directly up to the Safari snorkel. Thanks for checking out my 90 series Prado. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions about the rig, just leave them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Cheers, mate. Ready? Come on.